Hi everybody. So this is the story I want to tell, and it's basically something very personal, but I feel I need to do it because I feel like I am losing my sanity, and in case anything happens to me, I want this to be told, as it's quite difficult to go through this phase in my life that I'm going through, and having the feeling that nobody believes me, but it really doesn't matter if anybody believes me. I know what I'm going through, and I just want to share the mistakes that I actually made from the beginning and kind of the signals that I should have caught up on and I didn't. So, this is basically the story of how I got stalked, and it has been ongoing now for 3 years. And yeah. So, end of 2019, I came back to London after traveling to Ghana, and my initial plan was to relocate to Ghana, but I didn't succeed. So I came back to London, and as I had given up my apartment, I had to rent an Airbnb, and I did that in Southeast London, which is like an area that I really like. And then after that, I managed to find an apartment in the opposite side of where I used to live before I moved to, or where before I relocated to Ghana. And so I was quite happy to actually be in kind of similar environment. During the viewing, I had a very nice property management agent who was showing me around, and he told me that there were like a lot of vacancies in their building, so I could literally choose, and he took his time to literally show me all the available flats in that building. And eventually I decided to go for the one that I liked or that looked decent to me, and this was I think the second floor, first floor, second floor. I can't remember. Anyway, so I took this offer from them, and I signed a contract. I had to pay 6 months upfront because I didn't. They told me that I didn't pass my screening, which was weird since I literally was living in London for a couple of years, which is quite strange. And I'd been renting since then. Never had issues with screening. So, anyway, I was quite excited to finally be leaving the Airbnb scene and just having a permanent place, which is obviously going to be cheaper than an Airbnb. Upon moving into the property, they told me that actually there was already a connection of internet available in the flat, and that the person that was living in that flat moved to the second floor or floor above. Yeah, the second floor. I think I was on the first floor. So he moved to the second floor, and because he was expanding with his family, or they just had a baby. And they told me that there is already a connected device for internet, and I could just call the internet company and just take it over. The internet company is HyperOptics, and this is the company that I've used in the past when I was living in London. So I was quite excited to just join them because I never had any experience with them. They have really fast internet connection, and the service was very good, really good customer service. So I was quite thankful actually that I didn't have to do anything to just connect, and that's it. So I moved in, I called the company, the box was already there, the Wi-Fi name and password was already at the end of the box. So they told me, yeah, I can just go ahead and use it. So I didn't think much of it. And so this was November 2019 when I moved into the property. And the people working in that building, I think I met two guys, Billy and another guy, who were doing like maintenance in the building. They were really nice. They even gave me some free stuff for my apartment, and they helped me with my luggages and stuff. So I thought like, oh, everything is going so well. People are so friendly and nice, so I was quite happy to just be there, especially being back in London again after a failed business mission and failed relocation mission, and coming back with like a plan B, which I wanted to execute. So I was very determined basically to execute the plan that I came back to London for. And I think shortly after I moved in, I started noticing things. The first thing that I noticed was on my phone. On my phone, I have 2FA, which is like authentication for your for all your apps, basically, that you are more secured when signing in. And I noticed that with these 2FAs, I used OT at that time. And when you open the app and you sign in into any of the apps that you have or the platforms that you're using, it will remain there at the last app that you use. It will remain there. So next time when you visit it, you will see like, okay, if Gmail was the last place where you connected, you will see that Gmail is highlighted. And I noticed a couple of times that either it was on my Gmail or either it was on my business websites. And I know which platforms I was visiting and when I visited and when I closed it. So I found it quite odd. I'm like, this is odd. Why is it here? Because this is not the last platform that I visit. So why is it on there? And this happened a couple of times, and I didn't think much of it because I thought maybe it's some software issue or bug in the app itself. So I let it go. And then at one point from the phone, it moved on to my laptop. So I used a MacBook Pro, and I noticed something. One day I don't know, was either a folder was open on my desktop, and I'm like, how did this get here? I didn't download this thing here. So where is it coming from? And then I deleted it. And from there, more things started happening. So then I got worried and I started calling Apple for support. Like, hey, I'm seeing like things being moved in my folders or seeing folders on my desktop that I didn't put there. So I don't know what is happening, but can you have a look at it? And I am assuming that I'm actually speaking to somebody from Apple. And so they will help me. We will wipe the computer, restart it and everything. And this happened like a couple of times. I think just in a span of 2-3 months, it happened more frequently. At this stage, I was still not thinking that I was hacked or anything. I was just worried. And then at one point, I think the day that I got the fright was when, oh God, there's so many things happen. I have to really think back. I think I got a fright when I was in my email and in my Gmail, and I was doing things on my laptop, responding to emails, and then at one point, the cursor started moving on its own and my Gmail froze. I couldn't shut it down. That's when I knew like, hey, something is wrong. Somebody's actually managing my computer right now. So my first instinct was, okay, close it, because I tried to close it. Nothing worked. Everything was frozen. So what I did was I just shut the computer, the laptop. And then I called Apple. And again, they told me maybe it's something to do with your network, your modem. Have you had a look at it? Have you contacted them? internet people and see what they can do. So I called these people from Hyperoptic, and they told me to change the password. I told them, well, do it for me, because whoever is watching me, probably they already know everything that I'm doing, so my computer's already compromised. And so they changed it for me. They gave me the password through the phone and everything, and then they changed the SSID. And I think one of the guys was also so nice to tell me, he was kind of educating me on modem security. So he told me to either hide the SSID, etc. So that's what we did. And then he also did more updates on the back end, like to make sure that the WPS is off and stuff. So everything from there went downwards. One day I came into my flat and I could see that somebody had been in my flat. I could just see like fingerprints. I have these light floors, so anything that is smudgy, and I'm a very clean person, so anything ordinary, I would just see it in an instant. And I saw it, and then I told property management company if anybody else has the key to my apartment. And they told me, well, they have a reserve key, which is in some lock space, and the only person that can have access to it is the caretaker. And it cannot be him. He would never come in there without notification. By law, they have to give you 24-hour notice if they want to do something in your flat, and you have to consent to it. So they told me it cannot be them and stuff. And yeah, so it got worse and worse. And before that, I have to go back to the story, as there was also a part where I was starting to have grievances from neighbors upstairs, the people that were living above me. Often they were fighting, and normally it happens on Friday evening at night when people are sleeping. And this woman will be screaming, and he will be like, this, I don't know, passive aggressiveness and stuff. So I kind of got scared, because they also had a small child. I could hear the baby cry and stuff. And I was actually worried for the baby and the woman. I thought one day this guy is going to kill them. So this happened a couple of times, and at one point I told the management agency about it and said like, hey, this is what I'm hearing, and I'm quite worried that he will do something to them, and I could not live with myself if something happens to these people. And so maybe he can speak to them, because they often have like really loud arguments, and it's quite aggressive. So if you know people that have been in an abusive relationship, you just recognize it. And this was definitely an abusive relationship that they were in. And it was not healthy also for the child to be there. And they told me, they will speak to him, they will speak to them and stuff. And I didn't really think much of it. It happened a couple of times, and then I got annoyed, because it was getting out of hand. And it happened more frequently, and especially when you're tired and you're trying to sleep, and then people just disturbing your peace, basically. So I wrote an email to the management company, the property management agency, and I told them like, hey, this is really getting out of hand. Please speak to these people, because one day somebody might get hurt. And I don't want to be the one that has to call the police on them. And I don't know what happened. But that was basically all the developments from my moving in shortly after, seeing all these weird things happening on my phone, and then on my laptop, these neighbors. Yeah, so this is just part one of this story. And I think one thing that I learned from this episode of how things happened and evolved is, when I moved in, I made a mistake. So I moved into a property. Normally I rent from private landlords, and this was a company, which is like mass renting out places to people. A lot of in and out. And these companies, they don't change the locks when you move in. I didn't change the locks. The second mistake that I made was I took over the modem, which was there in the flat. I did not think, this was literally how ignorant I was about cybersecurity. I did not think about changing the modem password or the SSID. I have actually, to be honest, before this period, I have never done it in my life. And I don't know why. I just trust, I don't know. It was pure ignorance. And I didn't change it. I literally took it over. So the people that were living in that flat before I moved in, who literally moved upstairs, had that same box. They had the same box. They had the same connection. They had the same password probably. Or they knew the password at the back of the box. And I was an easy target. I came in, I paid 6 months rent up front. So I don't know, maybe this person was curious to know who she is. How is she able to pay for all of that? You know? So I don't know. All I know is it started from that building in London. Wrong place, wrong time. So yeah, this is the first part of how I got hacked and stalked up until now.